What does it take to become a global award-winning influencer? Welcome to Business Without Barriers, the show bringing you relevant strategies to thrive and succeed in a volatile world, and the show turning barriers into bridges by bringing humanity back to business. I'm your host, Carmen Wild, and opening up her success vault today is Hazel Harrington. Hazel is the founder and CEO of Harrington Publications Worldwide and certified and authorized publisher of the U.S. Presidential Service Center. She's a business coach and marketing and branding authority and a multiple global award winner. A humanitarian who has enlightened thousands of women and youth to become self-sufficient through her charity, Destiny Arise. She's also a celebrity interviewer. Charlie Sheen and Mel Gibson are just some of the big names she's interviewed. As a sought-after keynote speaker, she shared the stage with the likes of Tony Robbins, George Ross, and Steve Wozniak. Hazel earned an honorary doctorate due to her influencing passion and striving determination as an advocate for cultural change and fairness. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show today, Hazel. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Carmen. It's such a pleasure to be on your show today and for that amazing introduction.
Absolute pleasure. So Hazel, when you're not in the spotlight, what do you love to do?
Oh, thank you for that awesome question. Usually we just get in there, where are you from, what do you do? And I love that question. You know, I love fishing. You know, a lot of people say to me, what? And I'm like, yeah, I love going fishing, especially in Africa on the Zambezi, catching bream with the cooler box, sitting on the boat with my legs up. I even taught my daughter how to fish, and that's what I love doing during my spare time. And besides that, having a barbecue with family. Family is very important to me. And in terms of creating the balance between family and work, I would say to the viewers, that's very important.
What a surprising answer and such a true to Africa answer. It's so yummy. Yeah. Fishing on the Zambezi. Oh, I mean, you can just see those rapids gushing onto in the Zambezi. Beautiful picture you painted there.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention is that I also enjoy, you know, the African wildlife. I've been walking with the lions. We used to ride the elephants. I mean, now that's because of animal cruelty and the protection of animals, that's not allowed. But I think being in Africa, it's important, you know, to get in touch with nature. And that's one of the most important things for me is I haven't forgotten where I come from. So every time I travel back to Africa, I go fishing, get in touch with the local villages, culture, understanding where they're at, empowering women, empowering youth.
Beautiful diversity in what you do, Hazel. So seeing that you've spoken about Africa, you've experienced the tough side of life in Africa. You've also experienced the highs of life. So given your diverse life experience, how would you finish this sentence and why? Life is like a...
life is like a box of Smarties. I'll tell you why. Because when I say life is like a box of Smarties, that we've got different colors. And in order for me to excel in business is that I needed to adapt to different cultures. And so coming from Africa, Zimbabwe, to Australia, I needed to adapt to the culture, number one. And I needed to build a trust between me and the entrepreneurs in Australia. This is something that a lot of immigrants don't understand, is that you've got to adapt to the culture, you know, in the country that you're going to. And I find some entrepreneurs, when they travel to a country, they want people to adapt to their culture. It doesn't work that way. Number one, adapting to different cultures, races. I love Australia. It's multicultural. People talk about racism. I haven't really experienced it. I would say I've experienced online bullying, and I don't see anyone who hasn't, because obviously my color. But going back to your question, yeah, life is a box of Smarties, and you've just got to know your environment and just how to adapt to environment.
You've just mentioned something really interesting, which I don't want to pass. Online bullying because of your color.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've traveled the world, spoken on international platforms. You mentioned George Ross, the former advisor to Donald Trump. I've met Africa's first billionaire, Patrice Motsepe. I mean, interviewed celebrities. So when it comes to online bullying, there's just a natural element of jealousy. And Carmen, I thought, also coming from a religious background, I thought that everybody would be happy for me. Oh, well, she's excelling, she's doing well. And then when I got my honorary doctorate, I think that was the worst thing to have ever happened online, because some people just couldn't handle the success. And then the bullying started. People calling me names, and it was a shocking experience for me as well. And I then just also was attacked for being a woman, excelling in business. And I learned from it because I'm now stronger. You know, I went to social media for a while, and I shouldn't have done that because I was afraid. I was afraid of confronting these bullies. And I love what our minister today announced here in Australia, that they are introducing new laws to protect Australians online. So that's wonderful. Most of the bullying was on Facebook. LinkedIn, I've never experienced bullying. So that's great. I love LinkedIn as a platform as well. They're very quick at taking action. In terms of Facebook, my only disappointment is that in terms of taking action against bullies, it takes a while. Sometimes you get a response after a week. And here's the thing that these international social media platforms need to understand is that not only is bullying not good for your mental state, but it's not good for your physical health, because there's that the stress element, you know, and it just depends on what level you getting bullied. I mean, we've had women committing suicide, youth, children. And if there's anything that we need to do urgently, is that Facebook needs to introduce new regulations need to be introduced, whereby not anyone can just open a Facebook account. I mean, how easy it is for someone to go online and create a Facebook account. I mean, no documentation is needed. People are using our images to make money out of people. I mean, I've even had situations where people messaging me saying, oh, you know, I sent you money. I mean, it's just so sad. And something needs to be done about it.
Yeah. As an advocate for fairness and equality and the enormous amount of work that you do, this is it's disappointing that you know, as humanity we are not supporting each other and seeing that your advances are actually advancing so many lives. Having come through it, you're a strong woman, yet even strong woman, we get affected by these things. What advice would you have that maybe worked for you for other people who may be going through this? What do they do, Hazel? What do they do?
Yeah.
From a personal perspective.
Yeah, you know, I've got an amazing mentor, Martin Mongiello, and he's taught me how to stand up for myself. You know, I truly believe that in most women entrepreneurs that will experience bullying online, there's a fear element that there's a shock. First you get shocked. Oh my goodness, you know, there's a shock element, and then there comes fear. And we've got a lot of platforms online that support women, especially in Australia. And the first thing that I did was report it to the police station. And then what they do is that they refer you to ID Care. They're amazing. And what they do is that you report the incident and they follow up, check how you're doing. And they also refer you to, they also recommend a website that you should go onto that will help you deal with the stress. I did find that when I went to the police station that they didn't really know how to handle the situation. They were still learning from it, but they were wonderful. So I think that right now, with a lot of the social media platforms dominating in terms of how we communicate with one another, is that more education needs to be out there. Women venturing into online business, that it's very important to understand when you're going to do business online, some of the things that you will encounter in terms of bullies, scammers. For instance, now with all businesses happening online due to COVID, the way we do business has changed. And so we need to be able to educate startups that are going into business on these dangers. I think it's actually something that's not I wouldn't say recommended, but I think it should be mandatory.
I'm thinking about something that Mel Gibson said to you when you asked him, what do startup entrepreneurs need? And his answer was, get a lawyer. The waters are going to be fraught with sharks and crocodiles. Hell, Hazel, it sounds like, online, well, it's not even online, only offline, offline. The waters are indeed fraught, unfortunately, with sharks and crocodiles. Yeah. And we need to, we need to put that armor on around us, have mentors, have support systems, and also use the resources around us that are there to help. So, it was such an interesting answer from him, and that
he's amazing and so funny, and and just not so serious, because a lot of people think that when we meet celebrities, they're going to be so serious. They're actually just like normal human beings. I mean, I cried before I interviewed him. I couldn't believe I was there in LA in front of 2,500 people about to interview Mel Gibson. And the first thing he said to me, "You're from Zimbabwe, isn't it? How are things over there?" And I mean, the fact that he was interested, he wasn't just interested to know how we're going to be able to do business, but he was interested in how things going back home for me. He's an amazing gentleman. And man, if you're watching this, let's do it again.
All for it. Sharks and crocodiles, get a lawyer. Love it, love it. So you also interviewed Charlie Sheen, and this comes back to what we've just been speaking about. And he said, beautiful thing he said he's trying to be a human being before anything else. But he also mentioned that we're so divided as a humanity, and that it can only be changed at ground zero through human experience. And so you've been on ground zero, you work on ground zero, Hazel. What does it take to bridge these divides, some of the bullying we experience, etc.? What is it going to take for us to bridge these divides, do you think?
Carmen, in about 2 weeks' time, we'll be celebrating International Women's Day. And to bridge these gaps, we need to be able to focus on empowering women come post-COVID-19 in terms of gender equality, definitely promoting more women into leadership positions, because right now we find that women are underpaid compared to men. That needs to stop. Things have changed, and a lot of the decisions and the regulations that exist at the moment haven't been changed for years. I mean, if you look in Africa, women own less land than men due to cultural reasons, and some women can't inherit land. That needs to change. And I'm so passionate about a project that we're going to be working on to empower the girl child. They are our future leaders, and so they need mentoring, and we need to make sure that they're growing up with a paradigm shift. And so this is important. Not only as women, we need men to support women in terms of, when we talk about gender equality, we don't need men saying, oh, well, there they go, just talking about their rights. No, I like what Ban Ki-moon said, is that don't just look at me, the one man, that's going to make a difference and a change. He's saying, as men, we need more men leaders to bring about change. And that's what we need. We need men to support, because I always use this example, is that imagine I'm the breadwinner in my home and my husband is taking care of the kids, which is what's happening a lot now. And I'm spending hours and hours at work and I'm getting underpaid just because I'm a woman. That's not right. And then my male counterpart is getting paid more than I am, and he's going home clocking off probably at 4 o'clock and I'm clocking off at 8 o'clock. Things need to change.
Yeah, I agree. And it needs to change from both sides. So let's talk about what women can do to change, because they also need to empower themselves. Stand up, grab the opportunities, ask for those salary increases, not accept it. What have you found in your journey that empowered you? And when you're working with women, what are the key things that we can do for ourselves that you have found?
You need to be able to stand up for yourself. Like I said, my mentor, I was being bullied by another male, and every time I tried to speak, he'd bite my head off. And he was just challenged that I was a strong woman and I had a voice. And whenever we'd been in a meeting, he just couldn't stand the fact that I was giving constructive criticism, talking about issues in the business. And I think sometimes with different cultures, they can't handle a woman speaking up. This is what I've experienced, is that it's not all men that behave like that. It's because they come from a cultural background where women are supposed to be seen and not heard, but not in this season, in this time, is that women, we're not going to only be seen, but we have a voice and we're going to speak up. And you're right, Carmen, is that if we're going to want to be opportunities to open up for us in leadership positions, if we want equal pay, we got to speak, we got to continue to talk about this. I mean, the United Nations, they've been talking and screaming about this for years. And honestly speaking, it just takes one person to make this decision. And what's taking so long? What is there to discuss?
Exactly. And it takes us strong women putting it out there, creating the awareness and strengthening women around us to make these changes. I interviewed Mairead Tulekema, and she spoke about grab what's on the table of life. And if there isn't a table, create one.
It's amazing. I've been on her show, and you know what I love about her is that we are Black women doing powerful things in the world, creating platforms for each other. So, in also answering your question, is that it's about women creating platforms for each other and not having cat fights and bringing down other women. I mean, you were asking me about how we can empower each other. It's sad, when as a global entrepreneur, if you're going to try and achieve success and climb up the ladder by bringing people down, really and truly, how low can you go? So I'm for women empowering each other, creating platforms for each other.
And we're in such an incredible phase of humanity and business to be able to do that. So, I mean, let's cut the bullshit and collaborate and create this girl power together. I'm for it.
Exactly. And I think entrepreneurs need to be aware that business, when you become a global entrepreneur, not everybody's going to be nice. You've got to do your due diligence. You've got to do it. You've got to check who you're going to be doing business with. Everybody should have a digital footprint. If there's nothing online about them, I mean, you got to question it. and read the reviews. This is very important. And go with your gut feeling. A lot of people are like, gut feeling. Yeah, sometimes, if you're not decided, go with your gut feeling.
Yeah. Your intuition knows way before the mind, the logic. So absolutely go with that. And we do tend always to know we're about to make a bad decision, or there's something off with this person, or we know we just go against it too often.
Yeah.
What would you say is key to building a successful business today?
Okay. I think the most important thing is definitely laying your foundations properly from the beginning. We talked about Mel Gibson and getting a lawyer. So it's the three most important things: getting a lawyer, getting an accountant, and I would say the third thing is getting a mentor come business coach. I mean, mentors and business coaches help you to alleviate danger. They help you to, they help you so that you don't encounter the same problems they went through. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a huge advocate for people getting mentors and business coaches. Right now, I have an amazing mentor. He's traveled the world. He's, and not only that, and it's not only one mentor. I mean, I have got other mentors, and because we've got different areas of our life that we need mentors. But in saying that, you've got to have a mentor that wants you to succeed. I repeat, you've got to have a mentor that wants you to succeed. You have a mentor who he wants you to sell, but only at a certain level. Mm. So he's got to be there. He wants what's best for you. And he's going to learn from you as well, because in your weaknesses, he's understanding the challenges that are in the marketplace, Mm. And so I find a lot of people like, I've got this mentor and they're miserable, they're unhappy, because some mentors just want followers. So you got to be careful. Make sure you get the right mentor who has time for you. A mentor has time for you. And if he's not if your mentor is not answering your phone calls, and when you need them, and if you're actually paying, then get another mentor.
Wow. If you paying, well, then that is absolutely unacceptable. That is is like just absolutely unacceptable. If you're paying for a mentor or a coach, the basic condition there is that person should be your success, should be their success. That is how I see it in any way.
Yeah.
And in fact, so many of my clients have said, Jesus, Carmen, my goals are more important to you than they are even to me. I mean, to me, that's why the hell are you a coach if that's not the case? So
exactly.
Agree there. Sure. People shouldn't be mentoring if the person's success is not important to them. Tell us about personal brand and how important that is, and what the key elements are in building a personal brand.
Wow, you just triggered something in me, because I'm so passionate about personal brand, because I built my brand from scratch. I always give credit also to the J.T. Fox organization. They are an amazing organization when it comes to marketing and branding. So I've got to give them the credit, because they know how to do marketing and branding. And so I learned a lot from them, from attending the events, from their coaching programs. They taught me about, number one, building credibility. You've got to make sure, because a lot of people want to be this global brand and they don't have any credibility. And then they want to rush the process. You can't rush the process. You got to lay your foundations properly, because people want to see, how did you start, and who are you doing business with? You know what I mean? Who are your mentors? I mean, when you introduced me, you actually had, when you're talking about Hazel and who Hazel is, there was a paper trail. There's a trail of where I started, from Africa, empowering women and youth, coming to Australia, and then speaking on platforms in America. Now I'm working with huge organizations. There's a story to tell. Mm-hmm. And I find people saying, please, can you be my mentor? And I'm like, oh, okay, you've got to start off from here. But they want to be this huge brand overnight. It does not work that way. And you've got to be willing to invest in yourself. I paid for a business coach, you know. The difference between a mentor and a business coach is that a mentor will not charge you, you know, and there's a lot of people that will do that for free and in their time, in this schedule. But then there's business coaches, because they equipping you, they empowering you with entrepreneurial skills, and you pay for their time. That's okay.
So if someone's starting out in terms of building their personal brand, what would be your advice for them to start doing to build this credibility? What path would you lay out for them?
Okay. I always say to people is that the very first stage in building your own brand is to understand who you are, because you've got to understand who you are, self-identity. Because when you begin to understand who you are, because I always go through what I call a self-identity questionnaire with my clients. And then when they begin to understand who they are, they should be able to clearly communicate that into the marketplace. And number two, you've got to be your true self. Because if you're trying to be somebody else, people can see it. You know, people are looking for unique products in the marketplace, something fresh, something different. And so I always say in my coaching programs as well, we try to make sure that we're coming up with an authentic brand that's memorable, which leads to the next stage. You need to be memorable. What is it that's so unique about you? And that's the other stage. And then obviously building your digital footprint from your logo, being consistent, building credibility. I mean, I've featured on multiple magazines and it just didn't happen overnight. And so I would say networking is also very important. You're building your brand. You need to go out there, meet others. I know with COVID, it's not that easy, but we can still go online. Platforms such as LinkedIn are powerful. Facebook doing advertising of your business, and networking is important because it takes one person, one opportunity to change your life, definitely. And so I'm a big advocate for networking, and you've got to overcome that fear of putting yourself out there, especially for those that are watching from Africa. I find that with my clients from Africa, they're afraid of putting themselves out there. Some of them have been raised in cultures whereby putting yourself out there, you've been boastful, being on a magazine is just too much. Well, here it is that everything is online. You know what I mean? It's either you put yourself out there or the next person is going to get the business. So building credibility, I always say to people is that you need to feature in clubs, articles. I started Harrington Publications worldwide because we want to make sure that people get featured in our magazines online to build their online credibility. And people need to understand that when people want to do business with you, they go online and they want to see a digital footprint. Who are you? What do you do? And an article in magazines such as The Presidential, I Am Woman, Kidpreneur, which are magazines that we are launching this year. We'll be able to feature you in our magazines. You can advertise your business. And a lot of people think, oh, why do I need to have an article in a magazine? So that you can clearly communicate who you are, what your business does, and how you can create value for others. And there you have it.
I love it. There you have it. There are the steps.
Yeah. And if they're interested in having the articles featured in our magazine, they just need to go on to harringtonpublications.com.
Perfect. And I'll have all the links in the show notes for you to grab them. I want to come back to Harrington Publishing because you're doing some really exciting things. Before we go there, there's a big thing about this know who you are. And yeah. I have no doubt you're going to agree, where knowing who you are also means that you have self-value, self-worth, that within you're okay with yourself. And that's a big thing that I see in my coaching, where even really successful executives, entrepreneurs, still haven't quite solved the inner stuff.
Yeah.
Which is preventing them from being on magazine covers or being in shows or getting out there. Have you found anything on your success journey that helps with that? Building inner self, building worth, building value.
Yeah, Carmen, I always share my story, and there's nothing to be ashamed about being a single woman coming out of a divorce. In some African cultures, to be divorced is taboo. You can't be even promoted, even from church, to certain positions because you're a divorced woman. And coming from a relationship whereby it hasn't worked, who knows what you've been through, maybe it's emotional abuse, and you've been broken down so much, called names like you're nothing, and you've got to rebuild. And for me, it was coming out of a relationship that didn't work and having to regain my self-identity. So that question is very important. Who am I? I was known as Mrs. Mears, and at that point, it was now time to rebuild, and I lacked self-confidence in that area. But that confidence comes in what you know, and also being educated. For me, I went back to university. I wasn't confident going out there, equipping and empowering people, or going out there and doing business with other people without knowing what I was talking about, And so confidence came in educating myself, not only about business, but about who I am as a person. I also give credit. I love the Lord. And I always say, without him, I'm nothing, and I'm not ashamed of that. I love Jesus. And getting in the word also helps me in prayer. Some people meditate. Some people talk about the universe. I talk about Jesus. And so it's about educating. Readers are leaders. I find that the more you learn and educate yourself, the more confident you become. And most importantly, surrounding yourself with believers, people who believe in you, people who encourage you, and who the go-getters will tell you, yes, you can do it. You gotta stop surrounding yourself with people who don't believe in you. And like my mentor, Martin Mongello, said, you gotta stand up for yourself. You've got to get to a point where people need to know who you are and to draw the line how far they can go.
Thanks for that. There's a lot of strength in and even in the way you expressed your answer to this question. You can see there's a lot of self-work that went on there, a big journey, and you've come through, reinvented, stronger for the experience. You know who you are. You surrounded yourself with believers. You are a believer. Really, such a heartfelt answer. Thank you for that. Let's get back to Harrington. You're doing some really amazing things with Martin. Yeah. Tell us about this Harrington Publishing and it's all its little intricacies that some of your initiatives.
Harrington Publications worldwide publishes magazines. We have 5 magazines that we're releasing this year, publishes books. I'm so excited about our magazines. One of our main magazines that we have is the Presidential, and we have the license from the United States Presidential Service Center. And this magazine is just so amazing. It covers events from the White House, just everything to do with, all the ex-presidents, and we're so excited to be working on this magazine. Very classy, definitely excited about that. We also have the I Am Woman. We're launching that this year as well, and you'll be able to see more about that this coming week. It's about strong women in like we were talking about gender equality and International Women's Day. And so we're going to be covering credible news about women women with amazing stories, leaders that have come out of dark situations and that are just doing phenomenal things around the world. From entrepreneurs, we're talking about lifestyle, health. That's for I Am Woman. We also have Kidpreneur, where we're going to have amazing kids that are doing phenomenal things in business. I mean, we've got little Ryan earning millions. We've got the Norris Nuts in Australia doing great things. So we're going to have stories such as that, and young entrepreneurs doing amazing things with inventions. We've got a lovely young entrepreneur called Julia that we're going to be featuring on a cover, who does amazing paintings. And I mean, she's just so young, so that's going to be amazing. And so that's what we do at Heritage Publications Worldwide. We also have our staff that we work with that provide services to our clients, content writers, executive coaching. And so it's an amazing company that I've just started this year. And yeah, so we're inviting people that want to have their books published to get in touch with us. We've already got 5 magazines, like I said. If you are maybe an e-commerce business, you've got a big organization, you've always wanted to have a magazine, you don't have the time, but it's something that you want out there online for people to have a look to, we are the go-to place. Get in touch with us. We can make it happen.
What an amazing, amazing initiative, and so much diversity in it, and it's exciting stuff, and you're showcasing this human spirit that does such amazing things. So yeah, just the best wishes to you and your team to put that out there and showcase what's people are doing already. I mean, there's just so much amazing stuff. And the more we showcase that, like this show as well, the more we showcase what's possible, the more people come out and are raising up their hand and saying, I can do that too, which is exactly what these platforms do. What would you say, with so many successes to date, Hazel, and achievements in spite of the barriers that you've overcome, what would you say is your most cherished success to date?
Okay. I think for me, my most cherished success has not been the awards. I've won a lot of awards, but it was the success in empowering women and youth in Africa. And it's such, for me, I believe I've left a legacy for my children. When I was doing it, I wasn't looking for accolades. I wasn't doing it for the show. At that time, Facebook wasn't so big. LinkedIn, I wasn't really active on social media. And with wisdom, I was taking a lot of footage. And the experiences that I had going into the rural areas, speaking to young girls that were still going to school, about 8 of them pregnant in school because they were being waylaid on their way to school in the village, given $1 to have sex with the guys that were waylaying them. And so some of these things that I learned through just the passion and the desire to empower women. And those experiences, no one can take them away from me. I thank the people that have awarded me. I got the honor doctorate for the work that I did in Zimbabwe for 10 years, empowering women. And so I just remember those young girls just not knowing, what to do, and us going in there and educating them to stay in school. And then also, I remember one of my experiences going to the railways, feeding destitutes, and seeing, I've got photos of that, and it's just something that I've got so many stories that I treasure. And they had a makeshift house made of, plastic, and not every destitute on the street is homeless because they don't have a home. I found some of the destitutes that were there, the girls were run away from home out of rebellion, and then they were genuinely orphans, that had lost both parents due to HIV and AIDS, and just to also find out that they get, we get wealthy men abusing them, coming at night, offering them money, and then also going into all girls schools and finding sugar daddies waiting for them after school, paying them money. And someone asked me, but Hazel, what made you go into the schools? And it was that I remember parking and my daughter, and I saw sugar daddy and parking there, and he's chatting up the girls and everything. I went to him, but it bothered me. And here's the reality is that leaders do something about it. It bugged me, it bugged me, it bugged me, it bugged me. And I said, no, I've got to do something about it. And I decided, no, we're going to go into the schools and educate the girls about staying in school, the youth. And it started from there. And to date, I've empowered thousands of youth. And you know what, Carmen? I did with my own money. I never asked the government to give me money. I work with the Zimbabwean government, and they know it, that I would run the events with my own money. And so no one can take away those experiences from me. And the last testimony I have was the very first time I went into the prisons, and because a lot of people don't realize that I did a lot of work in the Zimbabwean prisons, 5,000 men the first time I spoke. I've been to Kami prison, and I remember walking into the prison with my team, the prisons and this fear came over me, because you got the big walls, and then they locked the doors, and I was like, God, what am I doing here? And I wanted to change my mind. I wanted to run out of there. And I thank God I didn't. And as I walked out, because as you walk out into the prison grounds, it's just concrete, and there were all these men seated in white. And my heart was beating. I was like, what am I going to say to these men? They're going to say, what's this woman doing here? And I just started speaking, because the fear's here. And then when you start to speak, and I said, you can begin again. You can be a better dad. You can be a better brother. And it's those memories that I treasure. And so when I came to Australia, I had a story, but not many people knew about it. So when I went on Facebook, I started sharing, and I was like, wow, okay, she's done all of this. And you know what? Those memories, my children, it's a legacy. They are for my children. The work hasn't stopped, and we continue. And the last memory I just want to share is, I remember going to a school in Binga. The government of Zimbabwe treated me so well as an honorary guest in the schools, and they just let me, just be me in the schools. And I just thank the government of Zimbabwe for that. And I remember going into one of the schools, and I had one of our musicians from our team, and she started singing. And I will always remember this the rest of my life. When I would say about 700 students started dancing and singing. I have that on my YouTube channel. And, I just started crying, and it was worth it. It was worth it. Everything I ever, the time I invested in the youth and everything. And you know what, Carmen, is that at that time, I didn't even know if the government of Zimbabwe was going to give me permission to do that. But they do thorough checks. They do. I mean, they came to my house, they figured out, found out who I was, and then I was authorized to go into the prisons, into the schools. And I just thank them so much for empowering me so that I could empower the Zimbabwean community.
Wow. You've given me a smile on my heart, goosebumps, some horrors as well in terms of the pictures that you've created. There's just one word that comes to mind, Hazel, after what you've said, and that's substance. And you are a woman of substance, and thank you for doing what you've done and empowering yourself as well to empower others. And then thank you to all the people that helped empower you to do so many beautiful things. And these experiences, you spot on. These are cherished memories. When you helping other human beings like this. This is the essence of humanity. This is actually what the show is all about, is bringing humanity into business and touching really into the deepest recesses of ourselves to just be human, just be compassionate and kind and loving and supporting. And this is what you stand for. And it was such a privilege to hear you share those stories. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Carmen. I mean, if I could just add to that is that what I learned is that when you are walking in your purpose, and you will find the greatest fulfillment you've ever found. And when I was doing that, I found the greatest fulfillment. I was like, this is what I was born to do. Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. When you're walking in your purpose, you will find your greatest fulfillment.
Yeah.
Really, really. And that comes from such a authentic place. You can only say something like that when it comes from that deep, authentic place of knowing that it's not it's never the money that we're chasing and the material stuff. Yes, of course we need that, because we need that to make our lives comfortable. Of course, money is the fabric of our society, but fulfillment is a different thing. And that's what you're touching on. Do you have a mantra out of all these beautiful lessons you've learned and the wisdom and the success secrets you've gathered? Is there a particular mantra that you love, or a guiding principle that is uniquely yours, or something you've heard that means a lot to you?
Yeah, two things I actually believe in this season and through my personal experience. When it comes to entrepreneurship, right now, the future belongs to those who are willing to innovate and solve complex problems. Right now in the marketplace, you've got to be innovative. You've got to be continuously improving your product, introducing new products in the marketplace, and solving complex problems. If you're a job seeker, you're in a job. If you're solving the most complex problems in your workplace, surely you're going to be elevated, promoted. And that's what I always tell people in this season. This is what you should be doing all the time. And when it comes to my personal life, is that there's a season and a time for everything. Carmen, sometimes you want to rush the process. We're talking about branding. We're talking about even in relationships. We both know that even when a man and a woman meet, you got to build on that relationship. You got to build the trust. And I've learned that not to rush things. And there's a season, there's a time to cry. There's a season where even in entrepreneurship and relationships, you'll have difficult, you go through challenging times, and trouble doesn't last always. We're going through a crisis. It's not going to be forever. And so there's a season time for everything. And then there's also a season where things will die. People will die. Relationships will die. Businesses will die. And you need to get back up again. We cannot remain stuck. We have entrepreneurs that are stuck, and they don't know what to do because of COVID. Stuck. I was talking about my situation coming out of a divorce. Stuck, a broken relationship. That's why they call it a stuck record. Saying the same old thing, doing the same old business. And so if you're watching, you need to come unstuck. Come out of that dark situation you find yourself in. You know what I mean? And it's your season to live again. It's your season to believe again. You've got to come out of that dark situation. You've got to stop carrying around that baggage and that suitcase around of your problems and your issues. I had to just stop it. You know what I mean? And just leave that bag behind and believe again and start to dream again. Surround yourself with the believers, those that with the can-do attitude. And I promise you, it's going to get better.
Said in that way, we believe you, Hazel, 100%.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, what is next for Hazel? Where are you seeing yourself go to?
Yeah, I'm very proud to say that I'm working with Believers, Go-Getters, an amazing organization. I'm working with the U.S. Presidential Service Center. I'm working with a strong team, people like Wan Farah, Antwain, Martin Mangelio, Stormy, and just an amazing team. And we've got a lot of things that we're looking at doing this year, not only with the publications worldwide. And I love working with people who are passionate about building communities, building people, building dreams. That's what we're all about. And so we're going to be running global events in not only online in Africa, training programs, equipping and empowering television shows. And we've got, I'm the advisor and committee chairperson for the magazine committee. We've got a lot of committees that we are working with. And so we've got a global plan that will surely succeed. So if you can go to www.presidentialservicecenter.org, you'll find out more about what we're doing. And if you're looking at building your online brand, building your online credibility, digital footprint, go to harringtonpublications.com and get in touch with us. We want you to excel. We want you to prosper. And I know with Carmen and myself, we're going to be collaborating, empowering the girl child, promoting gender equality, women's programs, youth programs. So get in touch with Carmen in that area.
We know surely you will succeed. You see, it's in your it's like written in your language. It's like in your blueprint. Actually, it's actually in your blueprint. So it comes through in your thinking, in your being, in your speaking. We will surely succeed, and absolutely, with that belief, we look forward to celebrating the successes with you, which are inevitable.
Oh, thank you so much.
So one final question, Hazel. If you could share a message that's really close to your heart, a deeply meaningful message based on the substantial experiences you've had, what would you want to share with the world?
What I would want to share with the world is that we need to stop judging people by their color. I know I've been judged first just by my color because I'm a Black woman, overlooked for positions, overlooked for a lot of things just because I'm a Black woman. That needs to change. I was afraid to talk about these things before because I thought it would, people would find it offending or, some people just don't want to talk about it, but we need to talk about it. I've seen a lot of women get promoted, excelling in business just because of their color, and it needs to stop. We need to make sure that even as we talk about gender equality and talking about women in leadership, let's make sure that even the women that are in leadership are put there because they know how to do the job coming, not because of the color of their skin. So when you look at me and when you see a Black woman, when you are making your decisions, and when even walk into a networking event, we need to stop judging people because of their color. It needs to stop. And obviously there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. And I get offended when I'm doing business with somebody and then they only want to introduce me to Black people. I've also got something to say to people in the Asian community, in the white community as well. So these are just different mindsets, and we need a paradigm shift, and referring me only to Black businesses. No, I know a lot of people that are doing things globally, and they've got a huge target market that's got a mixture of races. That needs to stop.
What came to mind when you were saying that is when it comes to humans, fellow humans, we almost need to be colorblind. We need to switch color off completely, not even see it. I taught myself this many, many years ago when I went through my own reinvention. And I actually decided that I'm just going to see a person. I don't care what the color was. It meant nothing to me. And we need to teach ourselves this, that we're all just beautiful human beings, all just trying to do some good work and have a good living and become fulfilled. Hazel, it's been such a treat to have you. I knew it was going to be a treat, and you didn't disappoint.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
So much substance, so many beautiful, cherished memories, wisdom that comes with your story. And I thank you for that. And thank you for what you're going to still continue to do.
Well, thank you so much. I've had a great time being on your show. We went back down memory lane, which was just so emotional for me. You've brought out a lot of memories today, and thank you so much. It's you've got a great show. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for saying that, Hazel. And to every single one of you watching, listening to this, it's always amazing to have a person, in this instance, a woman of substance that we can learn from. And every single one of us can be a human of substance. But it takes foundations. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. When you look back at in the lives of successful people, there's success traces. They've done some things, and they've earned that path to success. So lay the foundations, get started, believe in yourself, surround yourself with believers, and you surely will succeed. Thank you for being a BWB, part of the BW family, and until next time, lots of love.
Thank you so much.